I want to say thank you to Holy Ghost Radio for being able to produce the Thoughts Roundup. And I also would like to thank my grandson, Rylan, who runs the camera and takes care of packaging and getting everything ready to send for them to put these programs on. It means a lot to me to have my grandson with me. And I'll tell you what, it meant a lot to me what little I got to be with my grandparents. It was just, I guess, a different age or something. I visited with them with family, but I did stay all night with my grandpa and Grandma Marler. And my grandfather would get up at 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, and he would be able to fire in the fireplace, and I would jump up. Even though I was usually a sleepyhead, I would jump up because Grandpa told stories, and that's what time he'd talk to me. And so he would take that old skillet and put the old skillet on the fire and put it full of water and coffee. And he'd let the water begin to boil, and it'd churn around in there and make coffee. And then after the coffee would settle, he'd pour it off into cups. And he would drink a cup and I'd drink a cup. I didn't want it, but I had to drink it because Grandpa poured it, and because I didn't want him to know how bad it was. So I drank it. And with his foot up on that side of that fireplace, he told me stories. And I enjoyed every minute of it. So it's nice to have my grandson helping with the technical part of this. Well, you know, I was thinking about the Navy days. In 1962, I went to the Navy, stayed 4 years. I stayed till 1966. I was on a ship 4 years. Well, almost 4 years. You take boot camp out of that, and the rest of it was on ship, a destroyer. They call it a tin can because it bobbed around so much. USS Smalley, DD 565. And I never did get over being seasick. I never did. One time every time it would get rough, I would get sick. Now, if the sea was calm, it's okay, but when it got rough, I got sick. And finally, one day I said, I'm going to that sick bay, and I'm going to tell that corpsman, something's got to be done. I got to get shore duty, something. I can't make it. So I walked briskly into the sick bay. I said, where's the corpsman? He said, he's standing out there by the rail. So I went out where he was standing, and he was throwing up in the sea. He wasn't regurgitating, he was throwing up. And so I said, well, I'm no better than he is. And so I just stood there at the rail and threw it as far as he was. I was trying to beat him. And, you know, I'm going to tell you something. There's some things you just have to put up with, I guess. I heard the other day where someone had gotten out of the Navy because they couldn't get used to being seasick. That made me want to throw something. Anyway, I remember one night when it was so cold, and we was way out in the sea in the darkness of night. They say that you would only live in that water being so cold 3 minutes if you was to fall in. And the waves were coming. And a young man came up from the engine room and brought some slush from the bilges and walked to the side of the ship. He shouldn't have done it, but he did, and was going to throw it over. And a big wave come and knocked him over. And he was in the sea. The ship swung around and put floodlights on him, and another ship or two swung around and put floodlights. And we saw, just as they threw the line to him, the rope, you would say. In the Navy, it's a line. You threw the line to him, just as his hand, it landed right where his hand went down. And we turned, and we began to steam into the night, leaving that young man, some mother's boy, some daddy's boy, some brother, left him going down to the bottom of the sea in the coldest of the night. And after all these years, I still so often think about that young man and feel so sorry that nothing could be done. There was no way to reach him. You know, the waves of sin and degradation is sweeping over our children and our young people, and the people in this world are being conned and taught things that are not right. We need to reach for them while we can, while we can still throw them a lifeline. We need to be very careful to reach for them so that they don't go down for the last time. God bless.